Start really simply with a box, as we do, to start to understand, to learn about what it means to shade. And for our case, we're going to say that the light is coming from here, right? And so the story of shading is really the story of planes. So a box like this has 3 visible planes. And what happens is the planes that are directly exposed to the light would be the lightest, and the planes that are directly opposed from the light will be the darkest. So in this instance of this box, which is going to be the darkest plane? 3, 2, 1. Well, you guessed it. It's this plane right here, facing away from the light. Almost as if it's not really that binary, but it's almost as if no light is hitting this plane. And so now any plane that is partly exposed to light, that is more exposed to light than the plane that is the least exposed to light, will gradually receive maybe a brighter tone of shade. So the part that's in the shadow, we say it's in the shadow. And all of the parts that are approaching a lighter plane are what we call halftones. And we're going to talk about the light from the ground in a second. But for now, I want to simplify it even more. We're not talking about reflected light and bounce light. We're just talking about how do we, in the most simplest of way, can think about how to shade things from our imagination. So my example here shows you that the planes opposite of the light are the darkest, and then the more light they get, the lighter they get. So I want to show you what happens when you add more planes, right? So I'm going to cut the corners and add more planes here. So now let's say I have the same cube, but with its corners cut. So now instead of 3 visible planes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 visible planes. So again, we're going to use the same light source. And the face that is facing away from the light is still the same one, so it's this one. But now look what happens. We have more faces with varying degrees of facing the light. So let's say this is the second most darkest plane, because compared to our darkest plane, this is the face receiving the least amount of light, right? The next one here would be lighter yet, like so. I'm sorry, shading on the iPad is a little hard with these brushes. And this one, the last plane here, is almost directly exposed to the light. So maybe we can add a tiny bit of shade to it. That is not a tiny bit, I'm sorry. Right? I'm going to try to just break it a little more vividly. And so this is the very basis of what you need to understand about shading. You have a light source, and faces pointing away from the light will be the darkest, and they get brighter as they face the light more and more. So this is what happens on a hard surface thing. But once I've done this, I can very quickly turn it into a cylinder. And now what we're going to get is really a gradient that gets lighter and lighter This is really not a very good brush for this. Sorry. That gets lighter and lighter as it approaches the light. Right? So it can come to a full gradient. Okay. Now, why is this so important? Because if you look at something like this figure, it's really hard to understand where to put the lights and where to put the shadows. There are all kinds of little bumps on the body here that you need to know and understand. And so it gets very difficult to quickly understand how to shade it, right? You need to know all of that stuff. So, what do? Here's why the faces are so important for this. Because from now on, anything that you want to shade, you can simplify, and you can do it in this manner. Look. Let's say we have a box for the head, a cylinder here, another box for the torso. You can simplify this in any way you like. I'm doing it with boxes and cylinders, which is probably the easiest. A little sphere for the shoulder.